falls on the Adelsons. So there is no recourse to the taxpayers.
Coming up on Politics Now, we dissect the Las Vegas Sands stadium pitch and the new plan that's starting to evolve.
Joe Heck, one of the most deceitful people I've ever known to be in politics. Joe Heck.
Harry Reid not holding back. He fires off about the race to win the Senate.
I'm not surprised at all that he would want to do something.
And unlikely allies, Legal Aid of Southern Nevada weighs in on a potential bill to regulate the payday loan industry.
From 8 News Now, this is Politics Now with Steve Sebelius and Patrick Walker.
A brand new stadium that's expected to lure the Raiders to Las Vegas. It comes with a mighty price tag. We're talking about $1.9 billion to be exact. Thanks for joining us. I'm Patrick Walker. Steve is on vacation this week. Now let's take a look at how that money breaks down. $750 million of that here on the chart would come from raising the room tax, paid for mostly, of course, by visitors to our city. $500 million of that would come from the Raiders organization itself, with $650 million coming from billionaire casino mogul Sheldon Adelson. So why would Adelson want to spend so much money to build a stadium nowhere near any of his properties? Las Vegas Sands Vice President Andy Aboud says it's one part good business, one part altruistic.
This is not about Sheldon Adelson being a Raiders fan. This is about Sheldon Adelson being a Las Vegas fan. He wants to take the city to the next level, have a legacy for himself for the years to come, and be able to see that the city can grow in a way that we never thought would be possible.
All right, so the big question, what if construction costs go over that $1.9 billion mark? Well, Adelson says taxpayers, they're not going to be on the hook because he says he's willing to dip into his estimated $28 billion bank account to cover any cost overruns. And while those behind the project are definitely hoping for that 1% tourism tax increase, another source of funding is also in the discussion now. I took a look into the possibility of a special tax district around the Raiders Stadium.
Beautifully thrown pass, it is caught. Back in the end zone, touchdown!
If the Southern Nevada Tourism Infrastructure Committee gives its blessing to the proposed $1.9 billion Raiders Stadium, its fate will then fall in the hands of state lawmakers. Almost 40% of that sum is expected to come from an increase to the tourism tax. And while the Raiders and the Las Vegas Sands Corp will pick up the rest of the tab for the stadium and related improvements, the Governor's Office of Economic Development has floated the idea of forming a stadium district with the ability to collect tax revenue.
Everyone else is using these kinds of finance and these kind of creative finance schema, except us. We're just, here, take all the tourist money out of Las Vegas and send it up to Reno.
Economist and Brookings Mountain West Director Robert Lang says the district would allow a stadium authority to keep money generated in the district and use it for upkeep or future projects.
And tying it to a district makes a lot of sense for some of the ancillary stuff. So, for example, the district could help with the improvements to the transportation and to the police.
The project is now being billed as a public stadium run by a 7-member stadium authority. If a stadium district is formed, oversight of that revenue could fall under that board. All right, so let's take a look ahead. If the Tourism Infrastructure Committee approves that stadium proposal in a few weeks, the special session would likely have to happen soon after, and that's because a final relocation proposal would need to be ready in time for January's NFL owners' meetings. Nevada's Democratic Senator Harry Reid has never been one to hold back, and with his Senate seat and possibly control of the Senate on the line, he's attacking Republican Joe Heck with new vigor. The I-Team's George Knapp sat down with him to talk about politics, and I should note they sat down right before Trump's immigration speech on Wednesday. Here's part of that interview.
Part of you has got to like that. Don't you like it? That they still consider you the guy to go after?
George, I really do believe that we're known by our friends, and I'm very proud of the friends I have, but we're also known by our enemies. And look at who my enemies are. The Koch brothers, Donald Trump, Joe Heck, one of the most deceitful people I've ever known to be in politics, Joe Heck, a big fan of Donald Trump. How would you like to have a son or daughter of yours have as a role model Donald Trump?
I read a Politico article yesterday that handicapped the race, saying that Trump could win in Nevada, that Joe Heck could win. It's too close to call. Give me your assessment of.
Well, I also read yesterday that they said that the pundits said that Hillary had a 95% chance of being elected president of the United States. But the Koch brothers know, George. The Koch brothers know that what they want to do is keep the Senate in his hands. You know, he's a wannabe oligarch. He wants America to be just like Russia. And so what he wants is to be able to, with McConnell, who's the water boy for the Koch brothers, he will pick a Supreme Court justice. Can you imagine that? Would that be sad? We need to carry Nevada, and I'm confident we will do that. But you know, we're doing okay around the country. We only have one problem. If it weren't for the Koch brothers, we would control the Senate by at least 10.
What's the silver bullet against Joe Heck in this race? What's it going to take? You had called him a dead man walking before. What's it going to take?
Well, I think that it's going to take one of the most pristine candidates I've ever dealt with, Catherine Cortez Masto. The only criticism she gets in Nevada is she didn't play footsies with some people, because that's who she is. She follows she dots every I, crosses every T. She is unchallenged for her truth and veracity and her fairness. Here's somebody who is a toad for McConnell, for the Koch brothers, being one of the, I said, the most deceitful person I've ever known in my more than 50 years in politics. He comes back here with our heavy Hispanic population and says, I support the Dreamers. He voted to defund them more than once. The fact that climate change is here, that it's a hoax, that's Joe Heck. Here's a guy who has a medical degree.
We heard from Donald Trump for months that he wanted to deport 11 million illegal immigrants, that he wanted to build this wall,
Well,
and then suddenly 2 days ago he changes his mind.
But listen to what he said. I still want the wall. If anybody's going to stay here, they can't. They got to go home first. Now we'll let them take a look at where we're going to have them back yet. He's an absolute demagogue. If I, in my career, had said one of the things he said, my career would have been over a long time ago, where I would make fun of somebody that's handicapped. Talk about women the way he does. Talk about Hispanics being drug dealers and rapists. I mean, how could you? He was looking at a teleprompter. Wait till the debates. He won't have a teleprompter. He is challenged intellectually. I don't think he's ever read a book in the last 25 years.
Well, let's go back to the Senate race. Polling has consistently shown Joe Heck with the lead in the Senate race, but of course, it is a tight one, so both sides are dumping millions of dollars into the last-minute push for the seat. Speaking of polls, a poll done for Republican congressional candidate Danny Tarkanian's camp shows him with a solid lead in the Congressional District 3 race. It has Tarkanian leading Democrat Jackie Rosen in that race by 12 points. You can see the numbers there, 46-34. Also showed Rosen has some work to do in the name recognition department. 55% of Democrats surveyed had never heard of her. We were not given the crosstabs, but the poll was done by Terrence Group, which has a B rating on 538. Well, tackling payday loans, we sit down with Legal Aid of Southern Nevada to talk about some potential bills that will be coming up in the legislature. That's next on Politics Now.
It's a huge Labor Day sale only at Henderson Hyundai Superstore. Make quick work of a new 2017 Hyundai Elantra for $15,729 or lease for just $94 a month. Only at Henderson Hyundai Superstore in Henderson, of course.
The world is getting more dangerous. Your home may not be as safe as you think. Trust Rollot & Rolling Shutters to protect your home, your business, and especially your family. Your windows alone can't stop burglars. You need the protection only Rollot & Rolling Shutters can provide. With durable construction and insulation, you'll be safe and secure while saving up to 60% off your energy bills. Learn how to get a free motor with purchase. Rollot now offers retractable awnings and exterior zip solar drops. Call 702-878-1072 for your peace of mind.
Become the you that you were meant to be. No matter which path you choose, there's a place for you in healthcare, and Carrington College can help get you there. Visit carrington.edu to get started. Carrington College, the starting point for healthcare careers.
Danny Tarkanian's carrying a lot of baggage. As a real estate developer, Tarkanian was penalized for failing to pay thousands in property taxes. Tarkanian was ordered by a judge to repay $17 million in a failed development scheme. Tarkanian refused to pay the money back, forcing taxpayers to bail him out, leaving us holding the bag. Danny Tarkanian's out for himself, not us. DCCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
It's a huge Labor Day sale, only at Henderson Hyundai's Superstore. Make quick work of a new Hyundai Tucson for $19,430 or lease for just $122 a month, only at Henderson Hyundai's Superstore in Henderson, of course.
Welcome back to Politics Now.
Well, as we've been reporting the past couple of weeks, Nevada Treasurer Dan Schwartz is working on new rules to regulate payday loan companies. Those would include a cooling off period between loans and a statewide database. Now, it's an issue that the Legal Aid Center of Southern Nevada has been working on for years, helping clients who are caught in a debt treadmill. Steve Sebelius spoke with attorney Tanel Pereira about that potential bill before he took off for vacation.
You've reviewed the bill draft requests that the Treasurer is going to be introducing at the next legislature. What do you think of them?
I think they're good. I think there's some good provisions they've put in there. There's some provisions where it essentially will break the debt treadmill cycle for payday loans. Right now, what we're seeing is the loans are just rewritten over and over and over, and our clients aren't able to get off this debt treadmill.
Yeah.
And what has been written into it is a cooling off period, which basically stops that debt treadmill, and it puts the client into a repayment plan that they can afford and allows them to get off of that debt cycle.
And that cooling off period is you pay off one loan before you can get another loan.
Absolutely, because what happens now is they pay off the existing loan with a new loan. So what the payday lenders are saying is, oh, but this is a new loan. Because there already are restrictions on time frames written into the statutes now. But with the cooling off period, it says, okay, you have to have a time period in between loans. That way they can't just simply pay off the original with a second loan.
And so right now, as we speak, there are people with multiple loans.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
In fact, I've heard from the Treasurer's office that the average is 8 to 10 loans per person. Is that anywhere accurate?
That seems accurate to me. I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I haven't looked at the statistics, but that would not surprise me at all. That would fit in line with what I've seen.
The second part of the Treasurer's bill would be to establish a statewide database of people who have these loans, and the purpose for that obviously is to enforce the cooling off period that you just mentioned, just to make sure that a particular individual doesn't go from payday loan to payday loan, like a person who, for example, is shopping for prescription drugs would go to CVS and then Walgreens. You've got a database for the pharmaceuticals. This would essentially be a database for payday loans and would help the first part of that bill be effective.
Absolutely, and that was one of the provisions that we wanted to coincide with that, because you're absolutely right. Without it, there's no way to track it, there's no way to know. As of right now, we do have provisions that are written into the statute where it's limited to 25% of their gross monthly income, their monthly payments, but there's no way to know that, because they can go to one payday lender and get one that's 25% of their income, and they can walk down the street and go to another one and get the same thing, essentially putting themselves into debt that they could never get out of.
Were you guys surprised to find an ally in Dan Schwartz when traditionally this issue has been the domain of Democratic lawmakers like Barbara Buckley, who's now the executive director of Legal Aid of Southern Nevada?
I'm not surprised in that once he got informed as to the stories and the people that are out there and what is really going on out there, I'm not surprised at all that he would want to do something. I just think that a large percentage of the population don't fully understand how difficult these loans are to get out from under. So we're pleased. Anyone that wants to take this on and wants to bring awareness to it and help protect the segment of the population that is under these loans, we're happy for it.
Yeah. It's been regulations on this have been passed, and this has been an issue for a long time. Before she was executive director, Barbara Buckley, she was speaker, Barbara Buckley, and was working on legislation for this. Do you think this has a chance to pass in the next session of the legislature? You think this bill has a reasonable chance of passing, especially now that it's going to be a bipartisan bill?
I certainly hope so. I'm not sure yet, but I certainly hope so because it really is needed. You know, we do have statutes on the book that Barbara Buckley was, you know, instrumental in getting done.
Well, you can watch the rest of that interview, including a question about whether we should reinstitute the state's anti-usury law and whether federal regulation of payday loans will help, over on our website, lasvegasnow.com, under the Your Local Election Headquarters tab. Well, to build or not to build?
First of all, he didn't lie. He can't say that.
Our face-off panel takes on Donald Trump's wall and visit with the Mexican president. And Governor Sandoval holds a summit to find solutions to Nevada's prescription drug problem. It's all coming up on Politics Now.
San Gennaro Feast is back. Beautiful Craig Ranch Park on the grass in the park. Authentic Italian food and entertainment. Fun and excitement for the whole family. San Gennaro Feast, September 14th to the 18th. Fireworks, Sunday, 9 p.m. We'll see you at the feast.
Visiting Angels understands there's no comfort like the comfort of home. That's why we provide personalized care that comes to you for help with simple daily activities and affordable home care services up to 24 hours per day. And since you choose your own angel from our experienced caregivers, you'll find a qualified helping hand you can trust. Visiting Angels offers the quality life you want and the peace of mind you deserve.
Visiting Angels, America's choice in home care.
The best deals of the year are on now for a limited time during the Labor Day sales event. Visit your Desert Ford dealers and get 0 for 72 financing on a wide selection of Ford vehicles. Come in today and see why Ford is America's best-selling brand. Now get 0% financing for 72 months on 2016 Fusion SE, plus $7,065 in cashback and discounts. Hurry, it all ends September 6th. Visit your Desert Ford dealers today.
San Gennaro Feast is back. Beautiful Craig Ranch Park on the grass in the park. Authentic Italian food and entertainment. Fun and excitement for the whole family. San Gennaro Feast, September 14th to the 18th. Fireworks, Sunday, 9 p.m. We'll see you at the feast.
Monday on Good Day, most folks will be off for the holiday. We'll be at home breaking out the grill.
Tips to make sure you stay safe while cooking some burgers.
And fall will be in the air as we mark the unofficial end of summer. The big drop in temps coming our way for Labor Day, Monday on Good Day.
Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune are moving. Same station, new time.
You seem happy.
I'm so happy.
Jeopardy at 7. Wheel of Fortune at 7:30. That is right.
Yes!
Starting September 12th, only on 8 News Now.
Well, much of the national press was spending the week speculating whether or not Donald Trump would soften his stance on immigration, but on Wednesday, he drew his line in the sand, leaving his stance, making it known rather to the public.
They know who these people are. Day one, my first hour in office, those people are gone. And you can call it deported if you want. The press doesn't like that term. You can call it.
Well, that speech and Trump's trip to visit the Mexican president are the subjects of this week's Face Off. Joining us from the left is Battleborn Progress Executive Director Annette Magnus. From the right, KXNT radio host Alan Stock. I think the big question is, you talk about building the wall, you talk about possibly the deportation task force that goes with that. Republicans are for smaller government. This sounds like building up bureaucracy.
No, first of all, he didn't lie. You can't say that. You don't know. You weren't there, neither was I. I would love to have been a fly on the wall, by the way. But he said they discussed certain things, did not discuss the wall. And when the Mexican president came out later in the day and said that they're not going to pay for the wall.
And he also said they did discuss the wall, and it was the first thing they discussed in their meeting, Alan.
And he lied.
Oh, okay, so he's a liar. But you just said I wasn't there, so Donald Trump's not a liar?
I wasn't there either,
okay.
but I would assume Trump told the truth.
So that's hypocritical, don't you think?
Well, for you to accept the fact that the Mexican president told the truth and Trump lied is hypocritical. I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you. You're being hypocritical.
Yes,
now,
you are too.
And the way I'm looking at, well, I wasn't there. Would love to have been a fly on the wall.
You literally just said that the Mexican president was lying.
But you said Trump lied.
Okay. You literally just said that, Alan.
You literally said Trump lied.
Yes, and he is a liar. We know that. He's a liar.
Well, okay.
Time and time again, there's ample proof that he's a liar.
About this one particular issue, you said he lied, and obviously you don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
When he talked about building a wall, he talked about using the best technology. talked about using above and below ground sensors, towers, aerial surveillance, manpower to supplement the wall, and find and dislocate tunnels. These are the exact same steps that Israel has been taking with Gaza for years now, and in 2014 when the war started out, they were absolutely successful in preventing any of the Hamas, any of them, from coming through that tunnel and kidnapping the women and children in the southern part of Israel from the settlements to take them back and use them as hostages. Exactly what he's describing is what Israel has done successfully now. It not only can be done, it has been done.
So you would say it's feasible. You would say it's a feasible policy. Donald Trump's immigration policy is feasible.
Right, because he has also said that there will be areas, obviously, logically, you cannot literally put a physical wall, mountainous areas and certain other areas, you literally physically cannot do it. But you supplement that with these things that I mentioned, which is, again, Israel has physical walls in some areas, and they supplement it with the other things that I mentioned. So, again, can it be done? And we say the comprehensive immigration reform. We've got to secure the borders first and foremost, and that's what he talks about, and he wants to take care of these other issues. But as I've said on this show many times before, when you're out in the middle of the ocean in a boat and it springs a leak, a little boat springs a leak, you're not going to be thinking about dinner tonight. The thing you're going to do is think how you plug that hole right now so you don't drown, otherwise there's no dinner tonight.
Feasible then?
Absolutely not. Again, there's no substance within that. You can talk about sensors and tunnels all day long. Tell me how you're going to do it. I want to know how, because it's not going to happen.
They've done it.
They can't pay for it. They're not going to be able to do it. He cannot do this unilaterally. He is going to have Congress. There's this wonderful thing in our country called checks and balances. He is not going to be able to get this through Congress.
I agree with you on that. And you get a Republican Congress, and they will pass it, and he'll do it.
They haven't done anything on immigration yet. So how do we know they're going to actually do something? Number one. Number two, it's not feasible to build a wall. Even if you're saying that the mountainous sections, they're not going to have a wall, then what's the point of the wall if in certain sections you're not going to have one?
Because when you have a wall and it goes down deep enough in certain sections, there are areas, again, I'm referring you back to the Gaza border. Well, it does in Israel.
We're not Israel.
I know,
We're not Israel.
But that mat has been used before, and he's talking about using a wall where we can, and where you can't, you have above ground sensors, technology,
that stuff already
towers,
exists,
aerial.
Alan.
No, we're not using a lot of that now. No, we're not.
Already exists.
You're right, it exists, but we're not using it. Ask the Obama administration why.
Well, much more just on that topic, on immigration, as well as the CD3 race and the continued slow leak of Hillary Clinton's emails. We have the whole conversation on LasVegasNow.com. Well, it's time now for The Race Now, where we take you through the other big local political stories of the week. The first advertising shots have been fired in the campaigns for stricter gun rules here on gun background checks in Nevada. The measure's supporters, Nevadans for Background Checks, began airing an ad this week. The National Rifle Association so far has not bought any ads, but recently opened a new office here in Las Vegas. Well, the governor held a 2-day prescription drug abuse summit at the MGM Grand. Some consider Nevada to be the epicenter or one of the epicenters of the problem, and experts from all over the country attended. One solution that came out of it is reducing the use of opioids by prescribing alternative pain treatment methods, including chiropractors and acupuncture.
Sometimes it's the easiest path is to just prescribe the opioids, and maybe there are other alternatives, and perhaps they may be more expensive.
Well, a federal appeals court has upheld the ban on the sale of guns to medical marijuana card holders. The ruling has its roots here in the Silver State. It came after a lawsuit filed by a Nevada woman who tried to buy a firearm after obtaining her card in 2011. The store refused, citing the federal rule on the sale of firearms to illegal drug users. Marijuana remains illegal, of course, under federal law, so that ruling could have a big impact on the recreational marijuana measure on the November ballot. Well, plans are in the works for the presidential debate at UNLV when we could learn more about it. And those plans when we return.
A 90-year-old war hero deprived of his family, dignity, and life savings. A vulnerable senior victimized by a Nevada guardianship program the Las Vegas Review-Journal called ripe for abuse. When the family pleaded directly with Catherine Cortez Masto for help, she turned them away. Despite years of reported abuses in the program and later several criminal convictions, Catherine Cortez Masto let Nevada seniors down. Freedom Partners Action Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
There's a company focused on renewable energy for Nevada. A company utilizing over 40 solar, wind, geothermal, and other projects across the state. Providing enough clean energy to serve 750,000 Nevada homes at one time, adding jobs, and giving out nearly $24 million in incentives in the last year and a half. So which renewable energy company is doing all this for Nevada? Well, you might be surprised.
As a veteran, I know serving in the armed forces isn't a job, it's a calling. Joe Heck is a fellow soldier. He knows the dangers we face, and Joe is fighting to give our brave soldiers the best tools and training to keep America safe. And when they're home, Joe Heck wants our veterans to get the care and respect they deserve. To keep America